Hello everyone and welcome again to VMLogix LabManager video demo series. My name is Jacob and David. I'm a Director of Technical Services here at VMLogix, and today I will show you how to create and deploy simple configuration in VMLogix LabManager. So as you can see, I loaded my LabManager user interface. So in the configuration area is located under the overview, where users and administrators can create new configurations from scratch. Configurations represents environment where users can add, or administrators can add machine templates and define network connections. In order to create configurations, we'll need to add first machine templates into the LabManager product, as well as other resources if we wish to use them during the deployment, such as software packages and user scripts. So let's start by importing machine templates. Before we go into the product and show you how you import machine templates, let me load my vCenter. As you can see here in my vCenter, I have two machines that I designate to use as machine templates. One of them is Windows XP, which is turned off, which is a requirement in order to be able to import a VM into LabManager. And I have a machine that I'm about to prepare to import into LabManager. One of the requirements, of course, is to install VMware tools to get the best VM performance. And I'm also going to install on this VM LabManager GuestAgent. This is the component that would allow me to install and execute any software package on the VM as part of the VMLogix unique automation capabilities. So I loaded the LabManager on the VM, and I'm going to log into the system and browse into the, let me first enter the right password and then browse. And I'm going to browse into the installer section. Under the installers, excuse me, you will see a GuestAgent section where I can download my Windows or Linux components. Of course, this is a Windows. I'm going to download the Windows installer. I'm going to just launch it directly without downloading it. And follow very simple installation wizard. Click X on this installer, click Next, and here is something very important. Here I'm prompted to select which option to install the GuestAgents. So of course, the first is for current user. I'm going to select install it for all users. So every time LabManager, the VM loads, the GuestAgent will load automatically. You can also install it as a service, but there are some restrictions, specifically if you want to do some actions that require desktop interaction. But of course, since I'm loading it as an application, I will also define on this VM to load automatically. I'm going to define auto logon, and I'll show you how to do that. So start by clicking Next and Next again. And LabManager also provides you with the ability to install VNC server on the machine to use as an alternate console method. I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to install the VNC on the system as well and start the installation process, which takes less than 10 seconds. Once this product is installed, while it's installing, I can show you how to define auto logon. So I'm going to go start and run and type control user passwords. I already enabled auto logon on the system, so I'm just going to show you what to do on the screen. And by the way, this is the prompt for the GuestAgent, which I'll finish and install. So if I'll scroll down, you should see the GuestAgent and the VNC loading promptly. But showing you the user account information, here I just need to ensure that this option is unchecked. Once you click OK, you'll be prompted to provide the user credentials that you want to enable a auto logon for. And once you click OK, the system will auto logon during every reboot. And of course, other best practices include to enable RDP on the system, and for Windows 2003 to disable the shutdown tracker. This information, how to do that, is located in the VMLogix evaluation guide for LabManager 381. So all the information is there if you need more instructions. Now that I have my LabManager installed, I'm going to launch my GuestAgent to ensure that everything works as it should. And as you can see here, I have my GuestAgent loaded. This is the logo for the GuestAgent and my VNC server. I can proceed and shut down this VM and prepare it for the next step, which will be to import this VM into LabManager as a machine template. Okay, so the machine is turned off, and you can see I have two machine templates right now available on my cluster that I can use as machine templates. Loading the LabManager, I need first to import this machine into the product. So I'll select Import Machine and select the iSCSI location. Since I turned off the machine before the scan initiated, I will need to rescan the storage. So I'm going to click on Rescan and allow this process a couple of minutes to complete. So the rescan process completed, and I can see I have two virtual machines that are valid machine templates. All I need to do in order to import them into LabManager is click on the machines and click Add. As you can see, I have right now two machines, a 2003 and XP machine. Now I'm going to edit them a little bit more and define some settings. First, since I installed the GuestAgent already on the machine, all I need to go to this section and enable the GuestAgent available checkbox and click Save. Furthermore, you can see the default RAM size of the VM that was captured during the import. If I want to modify it to ensure that all future deployments of this instance will be using a different memory, I can modify it here and save it. The next step is also just a cosmetic one, to change the thumbnail. So for this 2003, I'm going to select one of the available 2003 thumbnail, which is this one, and click the Save. And I'm going to repeat the process for the second machine. Edit, enable the GuestAgent since it is installed, and I want to modify the thumbnail. And for this one, this is going to be an XP machine. There are two types. I'm going to select the more recognized logging screen of XP. And now, as you can see, I have two machine templates. I can use LabManager reports the location, which is located on the storage called iSCSI, and the VM size on the storage. Now, I can move into the next step and create a simple configuration using these two machines. But before I do that, there's some settings I would like to discuss. And that's the networking. If I load my vCenter again and go into this server, I'll go and show you the networking section of the server. So you can see we have several networks, port groups on this system. LabManager networks rely on port groups. So for example, if I click Properties on this machine, you can see I have two types of port groups, VMNet and VMNetwork. And in order for me to use that in particular port group in LabManager, I need to define this network in LabManager networking. And if there is a specific network or port groups that represents a connection, for example, a SQL network, I will need to use the same port group in LabManager. And let me show you how to do that. So I'll click on the LabManager networking, and you can see that LabManager presents a default LM network 0, and let me click on it and show you in more details. So LabManager, as you can see, there are several types of network. I'm going to select delete the other ones because they relate to different platforms. And for ESX and VMware, VMNet 0 is the default port group, and if it's reside, LabManager will create it. If you want to create or use a different port group name, simply enter the port group name here. And it's a case sensitive, so make sure to enter it. And this is just one section. Once you've done with this, you go into the LabManager and click on the VMAgent host and ensure that if you're using a new VM or bridge network or port group name, ensure to enter that name. If you're using multiple of them, you can separate them with commas. So as you can see, I'm going to use the default settings of LabManager. I'm going to go back. I don't want to cancel this. So this concludes our first video. Please join our second part where we'll show you how to actually create a simple configuration using VMLogix LabManager capabilities. So thank you very much for watching, and please stay tuned for part number 2.